What's up, y'all? It's been a minute. Welcome to another edition of Livestream. Welcome to Wednesday Night Toys. Tonight, we're going to be having an interesting discussion, and joining me is a good friend of the channel. Please welcome Aungielina.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be back.
It's good to have you. It's good to make sure that this isn't the first time I've done this clearly. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. But tonight we're going to be discussing a very interesting topic, still toy related. We're going to be talking different collecting styles. You're the one that actually came up with this brilliant title, is the maximalist, which is me, which the addiction takes over, versus you, the minimalist.
Who just likes a select few pieces in her collection.
Yeah, specifics. I wonder who it is exactly.
I don't know. No guess. Can't see. Nope.
Yeah. Just real quick, just want to give a quick shout out to D, who's in the chat. What's up, D? And then what's up, Josh from before? Thanks for joining us tonight. So where do we start? I guess like how we got started with our collecting habits and how it just evolved into whatever we're into right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it'll be fair for kind of both of us to explain kind of like how we identify with our, with our collecting habits. I think it's also fair to say that this isn't going to be us saying the maximalist side is how you should be collecting, nor should you be a
Oh,
minimalist. It's all about what works for you. So like, if your budget allows it, if your space allows it, if you're happy with how your collection is at this point, that's a perfect collecting style for you. To me, I also see like collecting habits are always subject to change. You might find that you're a type of person who started out wanting to collect it all, and that's how you've continued to do it. You might be a person who's always just been interested in kind of figures that have always like been drawn to them, or like always just collecting your favorites. But you might find over time that your collection grows, or you might find that you have a large collection and you want to downsize it. So I think it's fair to say like this isn't the correct way or the wrong way of doing collecting. It's just discussing different styles of the collecting ecosystem. So,
yeah, there's always this cycle, but I thought when we came on here that this was going to be gospel. So whatever we said is the
oh,
definitive.
it's a definitive truth.
Yeah.
Okay, just ignore me. I got my facts wrong. I'm just heretical. This is the right and wrong way to do it. I'm the right way, but didn't hear it from me.
Yeah. Real quick, thanks, John to the Ross. He says, "Hey, thanks for joining us." Okay. I guess we can start. So before I get to how I evolved into this, like my first like venture into collecting, like I mean, I don't know if we include when we were kids, because like
I mean, we can. I mean, sometimes, if that's how you feel like your collecting really started, or maybe it was like a nostalgic thing later on in life, however you identify as kind of what got you into collecting.
so I mean, I had like a bunch of figures growing up. Like I went through different phases with like Transformers, Power Rangers, Pokemon, all that stuff. I'm not gonna delve into like that part. I'll delve into like later in the adult years how I got into it.
Yeah,
It started. I feel like everyone's I call it the gateway drug is like Funko Pops. So there's
that's how
one
I
point.
started.
Yeah, at one point I was like, I got a Funko Pop from a friend. I was like, oh, this is cool. It's the Incredible Hulk. And then I was like, I like the Hulk. He's my favorite Marvel character. So anytime Funko came out with a Hulk, I was, I guess, a minimalist. I would just pick up Hulk, whatever. So if it was like a Hulk, Venom version, I picked it up. Or if it was Bruce Banner, I picked it up. But that's kind of how it starts. And then, yeah, I mean, you want to.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say, yeah, I feel like Funko, at least for me, I started out as a Funko collector, and funny enough, and this happens to me all the time. I'm doing a lot better with it. I think when I get into collecting, I almost go in with the maximalist attitude. I kind of like I like throw myself into it way too fast. And I'm like, okay, well, if I'm gonna be a Funko collector, I'm gonna have like a ton of Funkos because I think I had almost 300 Funko Pops at one point.
Jeez.
But for me, the reason I collected Funko is because at the time, I was just starting college. I had just moved out of my parents' house. I wasn't making a lot of money, and Funkos were cheap. They were like what, $10, $12. And so for me, I was like, that's easy to just buy.
Yeah.
It was a very consumable thing. So I was kind of laughing because I agree that they're an easy start to like exploring the collector scene, especially since they do like all the convention and stuff. You actually kind of learn a lot of like collecting lingo whenever you're in the Funko Pop fandom, so I can understand.
Con exclusive, this Chase variant, all that. Yeah.
Or it's gonna be a GameStop versus Barnes Nobles.
Yeah, and then like this has the shared exclusive sticker or whatever it is, like makes it
Exactly.
worth more. Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, what's up to my friend New York Backyard Legend? What's up, dude? Um, for me, then it morphed into after Funkos. I was like, okay, that's the one that's I'm just gonna collect that, right? And then I got some figures because I was like, oh, I just want to make some stop motion videos again. So every time I bought a figure, I made sure to do a stop motion video of it. Somewhere along the line, it kind of like the video to figure ratio got overtaken.
Mhm.
So then I was just like, okay, I think the biggest thing for me in the last 15 years is probably Marvel because the Infinity Saga, right? It was like
Yes.
huge in pop culture, even to casual viewers. So there was a like an endless supply of stuff you can get into, whether it's pins or Funkos or figures. So that's also what kind of spurned that like Marvel Legends mentality. So when I got them, I was like, okay, let me just get just the 5 team members, and I did.
Mhm.
And then it's like, oh, you know what? I really liked this movie. So then I bought was it Civil War figures, and I was like, let me buy the Black Panther figures. And then I'm like, you know what? I might as well just get one of every character in the MCU. So my old place, that top shelf used to be all MCU stuff,
Okay.
everything from phase 1 through 3. Um, so that's kind of like my mentality. I'm same way. It's like when you jump into a line or something that you want to collect, you kind of go like 100 miles per hour towards it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I'm curious. So, because when I got back into collecting, kind of, I would say, I got into I would say the Marvel Cinematic Universe was also kind of that gateway into collecting. And I was really late into the MCU. I didn't come into the MCU fandom. Probably, I mean, I saw Doctor Strange, but I really wasn't into the fandom at that point. And then I would say probably Infinity War is when I actually like got into the
Oh wow.
MCU. So I had a lot to catch up on. So I was really late into the game, but fortunately by then there was so much merchandise that was like available. It was like almost overwhelming because there's like so much you were able to collect. And I got a little hard into it. And I think for me, what I found, and it's a lot different for me now. So I'm curious for what you might say for you is I felt like the reason I think I gravitated originally towards trying to do this maximalist mentality with wanting every single figure was like I felt like I needed to validate my interest in the fandom. I had to be like, oh well, I love the MCU. See all these MCU figures I have. Clearly, I'm an MCU fan. And I found after a while, one, that wasn't good for my budget at the time. Two, there's a lot of characters I don't care about. Just
Yeah.
I have no emotional connection to, and I couldn't validate keeping something in my collection that I really didn't care about. And so that's what kind of made me become a little bit more critical, and I could get more into it when I talk more about the minimalist side. So I was just curious for you, what is that draw of having like all the characters? Is it because you like being able to represent everyone on your shelf, or what is it fulfilling for your collecting?
Yeah, it was to have that representation of everyone in my collection. I knew Hot Toys because when I really went heavy on the MCU stuff, I was like, all right, Hot Toys is out of the question. So let me just go straight up with these retail figures. So I got all the movie figures because like it's nice to have representation of something you're a huge fan of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The validation part actually, that was when I really got into McFarlane stuff. Honestly, that was
Which
2 years ago because like I was like, all right, so I'm noticing a lot of people want to see me review this. Let me just keep reviewing and just buying. Like, I bought the Mirrorverse crap, and I was like, why did I buy this? Like, you
okay.
know. But yeah, that
Which
was about it. But
Which I was gonna say is a fair thing we could also discuss also is what would you describe as like your main what you collect? So collect Marvel Legends, you collect McFarlane, because you said Hot Toys is out of the question for you. Is that because it would be unsustainable, obviously, to get all the representation there in the hot toy quality? Or like what made you prioritize kind of the more like Marvel Legend McFarlane scale figures?
yeah, budget's a big one because it's like it's easily
Yeah.
accessible. If I want its retail line, I don't have to wait. I know some of the pre-order windows like are they up for like 8 months sometimes, or like, imports are expensive figures. So it's
Yes.
also just like the instant gratification. So like the quick hit, you know what I mean? If I'm like
Mhm.
going
They're
to
kind of like the first one to hit the shelves.
yeah. Or like if it's like, hey, I'm gonna go to Walmart to go buy some groceries. It's like, oh yeah, there's a Marvel. Let me go pick that up. So an addiction is probably the best way to describe it.
Well, I could tell you, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't think being a maximalist is what is going to define a collecting addiction. I could certainly tell you I've spent a lot of money and and I try to keep my figures down. And so this could be also an interesting thing to discuss. Like what you might potentially see as like a pro to doing the maximalist collecting habit and what you might see as like the potential like con side of things. Cuz for me I feel like do you feel like it's almost a bit of a downside to that type of collecting because you can't since you're buying so many figures, you can't like invest in a lot of like the really high scale quality items just for like the budgetary reasons. Do you find you have a more of a budget strain or, you
I
know,
think not to sound like cynical, it's like the only pro is like if you like it, you acquire it, right?
okay, yeah,
There's a lot of cons to this because it's like this surprisingly is smaller than what I used to have because
yeah.
there's a huge con to this because I just moved recently, right?
hmm
And
So I bet the moving process was a lot of fun.
there was more totes of figures than clothes, and I was like, all right, there's something wrong here. So I was a maximalist. I'm kind of like slowing it down now as a minimalist because it's like you can only move so much. You know what I mean? You can only move so much stuff with you that you're like, why did I buy this?
Yeah.
But
And I would say, at least for me, looking at the maximalist side of things, I think another positive for the maximalist because the reason I think I'm like drawn to the maximalist style but don't necessarily want to partake in it myself is like I love how it looks on the shelf. Like people who have like all the Avengers or all the X-Men. Like it's so cool to see like every single figure represented. Because I always thought the fun of that is like, if you're reading a comic and there's this minor character in it, and they're not necessarily your favorite character, but you kind of enjoy what they contribute to like the team dynamic or the story. It's cool that you can be like, and I have that figure on my shelf, I'm representing them in some small way. So I think that's kind of a fun side to the maximalist side is that you're including everyone so you have like a lot of different variety to your collection in that way.
but so on the conversely, like with you though, the minimalist, I appreciate that aspect more because it's like look at not it's our backgrounds, but like
Yeah, it's
your
not the
background
best
looks
presentation
no
of
no
it, but
your background looks normal as opposed to like this stuff where it's like to me, I think being a minimalist, there's a lot of discipline required to be that. Like I'm sure for you, there's probably a character within specifically Scarlet Witch's universe, right? You're like, oh, I
yeah.
should pick that up. Like I'm not gonna. Like, how
Yeah.
do you have the restraint? Like, you know what I mean? How do you like the like? Because you used to be a maximalist, but how do you have like the discipline to be like, you know what? I don't need that right now. You know?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I think minimalism has like some benefits to it, and I would say it also equally has its flaws. Because it is almost self-punishing to be a minimalist, I would say there because you do have to deny yourself in several ways when you're doing the minimalist style. So for me, the reason I do minimalism is because like I'm just happier with a less amount of stuff. I find whenever I have too much stuff in my space, it makes me feel unhappy.
Mm.
I have like maximalist spending tendencies, which I have to always be at war with. I always love buying something new but then I find like I buy it and it was just a temporary interest, and it goes away eventually. And then I, get into the toxic cycle of like, well, I just threw away my money essentially because I don't want this figure anymore. So being a minimalist, you do have to be a little bit disciplined with yourself and your space. To me, I also live in an apartment, so I just don't have a lot of space I'm dealing with. So I just have to prioritize like what I can even let into my collection and I think I'm a little extreme with my minimalism. I don't recommend everyone to do minimalism the way I do because to me, I just look at every figure or every item I have in my collection and I'm like, does this make me happy? Like, do I love this? Like, if my house was on fire, would it destroy me to not be
I
able to save this figure? I
yeah.
want everything in my apartment to be something I would want to save in a house fire. Which don't look at it like that. But that's the amount of interest I want in my toys that I keep around. So when I have a figure I like but I don't love, I tell myself, well, then why am I keeping it? And I think that's a little unfair to do to yourself because I think it's perfectly fine to have an interest, like a figure that you might not love, but you still like and it brings you enjoyment. So I'm not telling you don't do the 0 to 100 I do. But to me, I want everything I look at to like make me really happy. And if I don't get that type of feeling, I just can't justify it to myself. So That's my thing. I'm strict with myself, but, like, to a point where, like, there's ways to do minimalism where you can still allow yourself to have, like, diversity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the same vein, I kind of want to echo this. What's up, Shadow Moses? Just teach me that self control. um, John Thuras says, I stopped collecting Funkos. My friend said Funkos are like Beanie Babies. They're not quite like Beanie Babes. I disagree with that sentiment.
Oh, really? Because I can kinda see the point that they're making there. So how do you disagree? Well, we could get see this we can get into a small little tangent. Tell me real quick. We'll do
So
this in,
they're
like
not like so Beanie Babies were their own invention, right? Their own property,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Funkos are replicas or imitations of already existing properties or pop culture stuff. That's
Yes.
why it had a more sustainable line than Beanie Babies. Because I think what was the Beanie Babies craze like for 3, 4 years maybe?
Yeah,
Like
like
their
the '90s
prime.
boom.
I would argue that Funko was probably like 2015 to like 2022 ish. That's
Yeah.
post pandemic. Like, so it had a longer run because of that. Because I mean, there's somebody out there that wants like a Joey Ramone Funko Pop or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're always gonna find something. That's why I thought they weren't Beanie Babies from the start, just because. Yeah,
Yeah, I do think it's a little bit of an unfair comparison, because I think, I mean, I'm sure people who collect Beanie Babies have plenty of uses for them. You know, they're a cute plush toy you could put with your stuffed animals if you'd like. And I think Funkos have a little bit more diversity. Like for me, I'm not a huge Funko collector anymore, but I still have like House of the Dragon Funko Pops I keep with my like Game of Thrones books. They look nice on a shelf. To me, I could kind of understand Funko Pops are like Beanie Babies in the sense that they kind of manipulate you with the whole like chase and rare, they drive up that competition and that need to buy them because you don't want to be missing out, and
yeah.
like Beanie Babies coined that rarity. And I also think people and I was one of them, also got it into their head where they were like, well, I can sit on this really rare Funko Pop and in a few years I can sell it for so much money. I can
And
see how they also have, and like over time Funko Pops aren't going to be worth anything, just like Beanie. So like I could see how they're kind of like that.
whoa, no, wait a minute, wait a minute,
So don't look at them as an investment. Just look at them as a fun collectible you can have in your house. That's the way to do it. Then
wait
you
a minute.
won't be disappointed.
My CM Punk Funko is still valued at $400. So,
Okay, is it valued? Are people buying it? Did you look at the sell, like the listing versus sold ratio?
of course not. I don't fact check stuff.
Okay, well then
um, on topic of Funkos, New York Backlighter just says, "Damn pop figs! I used to have 300, just like you, and sold them all once they got vaulted. Did the same with my W figures. Had 1,000 of them and sold them all. Dude, that's some next level. I Wrestling figures are like there's so
they're
many
their own
generations.
vein.
Yeah, but it's like there's so many generations to go through. Like that's to be a completionist or maximalist of that line is like, oof.
Yes. Oh,
What's up?
so articulated heroes.
Yeah. He says, just pop in and say hi. It's 1 a.m. over here. I'll catch the whole thing. Thanks, man. Thanks for stopping by. Um, off the tangent of Beanie Babies and Funkos, and you were talking about chases, right?
Yes.
And like platinum.
Variants.
So I guess some of this discussion can be led to like why I'm not really that much of a maximalist anymore is because like the McFarlane stuff, right? They've been doing platinum and chases over the last year that are like it's insane because it's hard to find, right? And then there's this
Yeah.
whole resale value. So it's like I don't know if this is how you felt when you decided to like downsize, but like for me, it's like I didn't even. It's not even worth anymore. Like the fun was kind of gone because it's like first off, the chase that they're doing, the platinum version they're doing, are the ones they're supposed to do. Like that's
Okay.
that everyone
Yeah.
wants. So it doesn't make sense to me. Like production, like I get it. Like you make the one that no one wants, then you make the one that they want later, just so they can buy the first version. But they're not even doing that. So I'm just like, that's why now I'm just kind of like I'm picking and choosing with that line.
Okay,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, to me that kind of helped justify my means to be like, all right, I'm not going to be a completionist or completist of that line anymore. But I don't know, is that kind of how it was for you when you downsized yours?
Yeah, so not like I could totally understand that because I think, like how companies handle lines and how like some items can get gate kept from like other people because of, con exclusives or the price is just not in someone's budget. I can see
Mhm.
that all definitely having an effect on whether or not you're able to complete a line or if you're even wanting to buy all these figures. Um, Fortunately for me, and I think, and this is to me, I consider a little bit of a benefit to minimalism. because I'm not spending so much money on trying to get, like, a lot of figures, I can kinda sit on my money, and if there's a figure I really want, I have the means to be able to pay probably a little bit of a higher price than, like, people who are just lukewarm interested in the item would go for. Like, I'll be completely transparent, like, my Scarlet Witch over here, this giant sideshow statue, $600 essentially from the sideshow website. That's a lot of money. You know, most people aren't interested in spending $600 on like a statue. But I love the Scarlet Witch. She's one of the very few characters that I have interest in collecting, and I don't buy a lot of items. So I had the means to be able to buy her because that was, you know, spendable income I had sitting in my account that I was like, okay, yeah, I love the Scarlet Witch. She's going to make me happy. I'll buy her. So for me, since I don't have my money being put in a lot of different areas. You know, if there was a figure I wanted and they were being gatekept from me, I would be the person who would just be like, all right, then I'll just buy the third market value and I'll just take that loss, but I'll be happy with it.
See,
Which
that's
is not how
me.
I'm telling people doing it, but that's how I do it.
That's me, but the only difference is I just deal with a lot of regret because I have all the other stuff. No, but shameless plug, by the way. We actually did a live stream when she opened that statue.
Yeah, and she's still here. She's still surviving.
That's crazy. That was like 2 years ago. Time
I
flies.
know. And I still love her. She's still available on the Sideshow website for less than I got her for. So if you're interested, go buy her.
But the beauty of that though is like if you're a minimalist, it's like a work of art. It's a statue. I know, yeah, it's not posable all that stuff, but it's like it's a work of art that you can have in your collection. Where
Yeah, like, you know, I think she's like, well, don't quote me on this, but I think she's like 24 inches. She's a fairly sizable, you know, statue. And fortunately, I have the space to be able to display her, and I have a like another 20-inch figure or statue coming in from another video game I really like, which is also another big figure. But fortunately, I've been downsizing, so I'll have room to display him in. So it does allow me to kind of collect some interesting items. I don't know if I would have collected if
any
I was
hint?
like purely wedded to just the Marvel Legends, you know.
Yeah. Any hints to what is that video game thing you got coming in?
Dragon Age,
Okay, all right.
favorite video game.
If they make Baldur's Gate stuff, I'm sure you probably buy it.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't made a lot of Baldur's Gate stuff yet, considering the success of it. Where's the merchandise? Where is it? It's nowhere. It's nowhere to be found,
Um,
except for like stickers on Etsy. I'm not a
that's
sticker
not
person.
um, but the thing is, like I was mentioning before about your minimalist, like you can enjoy works of art, whereas like if you're maximalist or completionist, you end up getting stuck with stuff that's like blown out Superman or something like that. Like the eighth Superman for some reason. Why you buy? Like I don't. Yeah.
Okay, and this might not be a fair question to ask right now, since you said you were kind of moving away from the maximalism. But like, you know, when you were in like the height of your maximalism, what did keep you like doing the maximalist thing? Because like there has to be there has to be the good side of it to like want you to keep investing and doing that. So what would you say was like the thrill of it?
So like the cool thing is like the universe building, right? It's like it comes back to like when you're a kid and your imagination. It's like, oh man, if I got that, I can do this photo, I can recreate the scene or the display with these two interacting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the cool thing I mean. It's like I think it's the same kind of like enjoyment you had when like you bought Funko Pops, right? Like you, not that you're checking it off the list, but it's like, yeah, I got one of this that they made. I got this of it. I think that was part of like the enjoyment of it. Just seeing them all displayed like that was the cool side of it, you know?
I'm really curious if you have an answer to what Shadow Moses just asked on the
Yeah, guys, I bet you got those
chat.
DC Mofex. No, I don't. I have one Mofex and that's it. I had two actually. I had the Billy Butcher one. Like, there's lines that I don't know if this is for you because I could probably think of one for you, but I don't know if you still collect this because they don't really make it anymore. But is there a line that you were like, okay, I'm gonna go 100% on it, and then you're like, stop halfway? It's like I don't want this. For me, it was the because you mentioned Mofex. I had the
Yeah.
Mofex Billy Butcher, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get the Mofex boys figures. I'm gonna get all the boys figures. I'll get the NECA one. I'll get the Mofex one. I never got them. I was just like, I sold my NECA one and I sold my Mofex one. But was for
Okay.
you, was it Vox
Oh,
Machina?
Vox Machina? Yeah, so I've had, like, a few, there's, like yes. So, for me, I definitely have some centerpieces to what I collect. Scarlet Witch is one of them. I would say I have a lot of fantasy elements in my collection. So, like Lord of the Rings, I have Lord of the Rings collectibles in my collection. Dragon Age, the fantasy RPG. I have some Morrowind from the Elder Scrolls. So, to me, I find that like a lot of those interests started when I was really young, and so like they're far past the 10-year mark. People always say if something's in your life for 10 years, it's probably going to be in your life forever. So like I don't ever see myself falling out of love with Tolkien. I don't see myself falling out of love with like Game of Thrones. And so I have like fandoms I get interested in, like Vox Machina, The Boys, that like I thoroughly enjoy, but for some reason, like the longevity isn't there. Like with The
Mhm.
Boys, like some of the recent seasons I've been kind of like, okay, and it's like my interest isn't as like high as it was when like the first season came out that I thought was really good. So like I don't have any of The Boys anymore in my collection, and I was like
None
expecting
of them.
to have that as like a little cornerstone, and it just didn't last. And Vox Machina, I thoroughly enjoyed like the animated series. I unfortunately don't have the time to watch the how many episodes the campaign is on YouTube. It's like crazy. I haven't gotten into Critical Role, unfortunately. Um, and it takes like 1 or 2 years between seasons for the show to come out, and so I find like during that time, when there's not something like constantly sustaining your interest, for me it like has risk to go away. Like I think that's what happened with the MCU. Like for like how many years, like 10 plus years, we had like a constant stream of movies to keep you
Yeah.
going, to keep you actively interested, actively engaged. So it was easy to collect because there was always new stuff coming out. And I'm not saying there's still not a place for the MCU, but for me it definitely ended with Multiverse of Madness because of how bad they treated my boy.
Oh, so yeah.
It just made me like just be like I don't even want to collect the MCU anymore. Like
That was it for you? That's what they
mhm. Yeah, and, I haven't been a big fan of these recent phases. They just have been a little hit or miss for me, and I just got so upset. Like, I kept some things, like, I still have a few Doctor Strange things. I love Clea, she's still here. Scarlet Witch, you can argue is she interacts with Doctor Strange at times, but,
Did you
like,
did you keep Defender Strange?
no.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Ponytail Strange is gone.
Ponytail Strange went away.
No way.
I really liked him, and then the movie came out, and he was only in it for, like, what? A minute?
Mhm.
Yeah, and then I was just like, "Oh, well." It was like you with the
Rin
Minotaur dude.
Rintrah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
who I told you was only
There's
gonna be in it
receipts.
for yeah.
Yeah, there's receipts of that. So, wow, that was the ending point. He was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm kinda."
Yeah, because for a while I had a lot of for a while, I would say my collection was an MCU collection, and, that's when I got into Hot Toys, and I got into that a little too hard. Like I do everything, I kinda go a little, like, extreme, and I reel myself in. But I do still think I will always stand on my opinion that if you're a fan of at least one character, and there's a hot toy of them, you deserve to have one hot toy of your favorite character. I do think Hot Toys does an incredible job. It'll be a nice staple to your collection. You don't need more than one. You don't need more than one. But I do still think
You should
Hot
get
Toys is
one.
cool.
Do you still have that checklist of people that were like, you got them to get a hot toy?
Probably somewhere. I don't feel like I have the right to say it anymore because I think I only have the WandaVision Wanda now. Um,
So even Strange, Mysterio, they're all gone.
they're all gone. Yeah.
I don't know. Wow. How
'Cause I like I said, I got really strict with myself, and yeah. I
I'm
do still have the Multiverse of Madness wand on pre-order, though. She is also staying because that's my favorite outfit, so
That's crazy. I'm here struggling to like sell an ebony maw figure, and you're over here like a Marvel Legends. You're over here selling Hot Toys off. I'm like, dang, I'd be
I
really
see,
like,
I like the reselling game. Half of the fun of collecting to me is, like, when I'm ready to part with it and I get to send it to a new home, so
now I don't want to go too much into it, but like when you sell, do you sell at market value or do you just sell for less? Because like that for
Ye
me, I've found downsizing. I know I'm going to lose some money selling some of this. So it's like I send them in bulks. Yeah.
yeah, so, like, I definitely have made my peace with, like, trying to get back my money. I know I'm not going to, and I just
Right.
accept that because, like, to me and I'm okay with doing that. Some people might have a hard time with, like, in the long run being like, "Okay, I lost out on this much money." To me, I don't because, like, I was happy at the time to have that figure, and I
Yeah.
know it, like, it did something for me when I had it. So to me, I'm not gonna play that game with myself. Money can always be made. That's what I think, just as long as it's not financially ruining me, I'm not going to worry about what I lost out. So for me, I just try to, I usually try to sell it on market plot price unless I really want it gone. And then I'll be like super generous with the listing price. I'll only make exceptions on like, if I'm going to sell a hot toy, I'm going to sell it for what it's worth, because I did spend a lot of money trying to get that hot toy. So I kind of want to at least try to break even. So there's a few items I'll play, the market game with, but for the most part, I'll throw it up for whatever it's going for.
Yeah, like that, before they came out, that reissued Magneto Legends, you sold like, because I bought it for like, you sold it for, like, way less than it's supposed to go for. I'm like, "Dang, very cool."
Yeah, it's just because I wanted it gone. I was like, that deal will make someone happy. They'll have it. Take it.
Nice. No,
You're
I can't
welcome.
believe you sold the boys stuff though, so that you're done with that.
Yeah, like maybe, and I don't know. It really depends on if I continue to like the series. Like I do like the Moffex Homelander. I thought that was a really good figure of him. So like maybe at one point I'll buy him and he'll be like my one representation of the boys in my collection. But right now I just know. And I had that, and I was really disappointed because maybe if she comes back in stock, I had pre-ordered that Mythic Legions. Is that what they're called? Mythic Legions, the kind
Mhm.
of the fantasy. I had pre-ordered a Mythic Legion figure, but like she still keeps getting pushed back. And finally, I just got frustrated. And I was just like, you know what?
You just
Cancel it. I
cancel it?
pre-ordered it. Yeah.
What what did you get through Big Bad Toy Store or?
Yeah.
Yes. So, 'cause Shadow mentioned it, earlier, he said Love Box and their Critical Role. He said they made Morrowind figures. I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Morrowind, it's one of the Elder Scrolls games, my favorite. It has the most interesting lore. No, they don't actually have Morrowind merchandise, which sucks. What's on my Morrowind shelf is some people did some 3D prints of like the Tribunal and like I think they're gonna do the Nerevar as well. But like I buy like custom made stuff for my Morrowind collection, and I have like the original little 40-page paperback of the original artwork that came in like the game case when it was like first released or whatever, because Morrowind has an incredible art design. So like I have that and I have like a custom figure of Almalexia and stuff. So unfortunately, no, there's no like actual market items, but I make my own. I don't make them. I buy other
You
I
buy
get
yeah,
other people to make it and then I buy it from them.
because you mentioned here almost got into like you were talking about Four Horsemen, like Mythic Legions. It's got into Four Horsemen because of their Kedget looking figures. So that's another thing about like when moving, I was like having like that, just like, all right, cool. I don't need to get everything. Like now that I'm picking and choosing, I'm starting to get into Four Horsemen.
Okay, they're
My
cool. They do look cool from like an outsider perspective. I think it's awesome that people collect it.
Yeah, I blame you to some extent because it has kind of like that fantasy aspect. So I see your collection, but my friend Dante hooked me up with there's a Zolicon exclusive called Skull Warrior. I'm supposed to get that soon, and then on Big Bad Toy Store, I ordered. Someone's gonna correct me, Aggregar or whatever. It's like this alligator looking monster.
Okay.
But I was like, all right, let me just see what the hype's about. So the cool thing about now is like because like you mentioned, because you don't have to buy everything or try to be a completist, you can use that money to buy other stuff. So
Yeah.
I just hope I don't go 100% on it, like I did with Warhammer. So I just got into Warhammer now. So like I'm not going to play the tabletop game, but I kind of went 100% because a lot of their stuff is cheap.
Okay. Yeah.
That's like right there, but yeah, that I'm kind of like because now it's not another rabbit hole. So it's like the question to you. So like when you got bored, like tired of the MCU, did you oh make
Sorry, I think you
that
might
best
be
when
I
you
don't know
get
if you're
into
buffering
something?
or if I'm buffering. Hold
It's
on.
me.
Oh, okay.
It's me.
I
It's me.
completely missed your question.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes.
All right. Sorry about that. I'm
I
on
know.
dial up, so yeah, I apologize. I think somebody
Oh,
picked
you're
up the
good.
phone on my AOL. Okay. All right. Am I still kind of buffering? Am I good?
You're still I think you're good now. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. There you
Cool.
go.
So
Yeah.
I was asking when you got tired of Doctor Strange and stuff like that, like the MCU, when you
Yeah.
got into another thing you were into, like Morrowind, do you look and see if there's anything in there like to purchase in terms of like collector stuff or no?
Yeah. So I actually, and I know exactly how this happened because so when I got so mad with MCU, and to me, I'm like once I'm done with something, I have like a good ability to just be done with it. So when
That's
I
it.
got fed up with the MCU, yeah, I was just like, you know what, I'm selling my MCU stuff, and fortunately for me, over the 2 3 years I was, really collecting MCU, I had accumulated a fair, size of a collection, and it took me, I would say, about like 4 to 5 months to kind of like go through my collection and sell what I didn't want for my MCU. And that left me with some good money to like put into my new interest. And I just started collecting a lot of Dragon Age stuff that I wanted for my collection. I think I remember even posting on my Instagram. I was just like, you know what, you guys aren't gonna see a lot of MCU from me anymore, but these are the things I'm gonna start trying to collect.
Yeah,
And it was like Dragon Age, Mass Effect, Lord of the
I,
Rings,
I remember
Elder
when you posted
Scrolls.
that. I remember when we posted. I reported that post as spam. I was like,
Oh, did you? And again, I'm still kicking, so I guess
yeah,
Instagram
yeah.
didn't care. But, uh, but yeah, and so for Dragon Age, I had to start looking. I knew there was stuff out there for Dragon Age, so I just kinda, like, had to start looking at, like, that I knew there was these old figures that I would really want, to try to hunt down. I knew they had, like, a lot of books and comics I could put into my collection, a lot of, like, custom stuff on Etsy. So, yeah, I start, fishing around and seeing what I can find, and then if I can't really find anything that's, like, official licensed merchandise, I'll look at, like, people who make custom figures or like Etsy that does prints and stickers and all of that. So
How do you know when to like stop? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if there's like an endless supply, like for example, like the Scarlet Witch, right?
yeah.
How do you like discipline yourself to like I'm not gonna buy all of it. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
so yeah, I mean, like, I don't like every single figure that's ever been done of the Scarlet Witch. We've
But
seen
you
the
buy
Toy
it, right?
Biz.
Or no?
At one point, I did have that Toy Biz one. That was horrifying, and I don't have her anymore. So yeah,
Who bought that? Like,
I did. It was yeah.
no, I mean, who bought it from you? Like, who did you sell it
Oh, I
to?
don't know. I think she might have been like in a bundle I just threw up on Macari,
Yeah,
with a whole bunch of other figures. Maybe that's how I did it. Or maybe I just threw her away. Every now and then I will just throw something away and get it out of the market, I guess.
you should have kept
Um,
that. She's
yeah. Because like I don't know, so to me it's just like if I really like the figure, just like how much do I like it? If I like the representation. Like for Wanda, I like there's like, a few costumes I really like of her. So like her modern one is one of my favorites. So like I have like it's she's not out right now. She's in storage, but I have like a nice Kotobuyaki, I think is the statue line that did this really
okay.
nice modern Wanda. So
Yeah.
I have her because that's like one of my favorite outfits. A lot of the items I have now that I'm trying to focus on are actually just customs because I love custom Marvel Legends. So a lot of my Wandas that I really like and that I'm gonna probably always keep are ones done by custom artists because I'm an artist myself, so I love supporting other artists. That's half the fun for me. And
Right.
I know no one's going to have that same exact custom. It's like so unique, and I love
Mhm.
that. So right
Yeah.
now, a lot of stuff I actually have is just very unique, one of a kind things for my collection.
Yeah. You have some really nice custom ones. Like credits to those customizers. Like, did one of them have real hair in it? Like,
Yeah, well, yeah, no. So Swan Artistry on Instagram is probably the person I unfortunately commission the most. I say unfortunately because I don't know how many commissions I have made that man do for me. But he uses like yarn or something as like the actual hair, and so it gives it almost that like real hair texture. And I like it because I'm really into dolls, so it kind of crosses that action figure doll boundary that I really enjoy. And then Mark is the other person who I have like my Cleas, my really nice Cleas are from
mhm.
on Instagram. So one day maybe I can get a Phoenix custom, but we'll see. Because
Just by the money.
he's been like indefinitely closed on commissions for like years. So I'm like,
Oh, for real?
yeah. So I'm like, one day
Why
I will.
don't you just buy the Marvel Legends one?
Because he does the better. The faces look prettier.
Where's she at? She might be in a tote now. It's like I was gonna pull it out. I was like, "What's better looking than that?" And like, I think the one I got had a misprint. Like her lipstick's like here.
Ah, yeah. And see, that's real quick. I want to respond because
Oh,
Tony
Tony,
just
sorry,
said
yeah.
Yeah, he just said he bought my custom MCU Bullseye, and he's absolutely in love with it. Thank you. Yeah, that one, I will admit, was hard to part with because I do love, Wilson Bethel as Bullseye. But I for a long time, I thought I was never getting him back and that he was gone to the wind, and then Marvel was like, "JK." But the outfit they have him in the promos looks kinda ugly, so I hope that's just like a pre-outfit.
He's what? He's coming back?
Yeah, Wilson Bethel, for the Daredevil show that, Marvel's
Uh,
doing. Yeah, I'm so
so I
happy.
was so I was gonna ask then, like, is there anything that's, like, ever almost tempted you to cut back and, like, get back into, like, "Yo, I'm gonna build this universe out," or something like that? Has there been anything that you come close to post, like, your era of, like, collecting everything? Like,
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, also, you're welcome. I'm glad you're into the world of
I
customizing now. It's the you're gonna it gets you. I've spent a lot of money on customs. Uh, but I don't know, not really. I mean, I swore off Funkos, and then I started actually reading like the Game of Thrones series and stuff. So now I'm like, well, now I need the Game of Thrones Funkos. No, I don't. I don't need them. But I do have like I got all the House of the Dragon ones. Well, not all of them, but I got a like I had made an oath to myself, and I was like, I'm not spending money on the Funko Pop NFTs because that's the stupidest thing in existence. Like, I hate NFTs, and the fact Funko got in on NFTs, I was like, no. And then they released NFTs I really wanted, so I spent money on them and I got them. So, so
yeah.
yeah. So in some ways, I have broken vows I have made to
Oh,
myself, but
yeah, I saw you posted the photo. I think it was on the box. Does it say, like, NFT, like, all yeah.
yeah, because it's like I don't know how it works because I just buy them third market. Don't do that because you'll lose your money. But it's like you buy like virtual like NFTs and then like there's like a chance to get like the physical pop of it or whatever.
Yeah.
It's dumb, but they made ones I wanted, so I was a clown.
With all due respect, because, like, I know that, there's definitely people that collect that and are, like, fans, right? They you like what you like, right?
Yes.
But I'll go to me, when someone's like, "Oh, here's this," and it comes with an NFT, it's like saying, "Yo, here's your cable package, here's your internet, and you get a landline." I'm like, "I don't really care, but okay, I'll take."
Yeah.
Yeah, I NFTs are funny. They're starting to do that with McFarlane stuff, and I don't remember if it made the price a little bit higher, but yeah, I don't care for that stuff.
Yeah, I'm not like a lottery mentality type of person. Like I hate like mystery boxes or like the NFT game. I don't understand spending money when I'm not reassured I'm going to get the figure I want. I would
Yeah,
rather pay a little bit more to get the figure that I know I'm going to get than be like playing that gamble game. I don't get it, but some
yes,
people they love it. That's like the thrill.
yeah. Um, real quick, because we were talking about customizer earlier. Shadow says, "How about someone that repaints like JCM custom paints?" I'm not sure who,
Yeah, I don't know
but
if
I
I follow them or not, but
but I know Shadow definitely is a creator himself. He makes his own 3D like diorama sets, like arcades.
oh, cool, yeah.
And yeah, like props.
Or like backgrounds that you put like characters in. Is that what they
Mhm,
do?
or like stuff that you can use for like toy photography shots.
Nice.
For anyone local in DC, Awesome Con this weekend, Shadow Moses will be there. I'll see you there, Shadow. Once I'm there. But he mentioned Wilson Bethel will be at Awesome Con. That's cool.
Ah,
I think
lucky.
Charlie Cox is going to be there too. Yeah. Tony says Phoenix Customs is my number one to get commission from Indeed. His custom figures of the X Men movie teams are my Grail figures. Nice.
Yeah, he does some incredible work.
Yeah, yeah, I can't customize for anything. So, me doing a head swap to me is my version of like customize. I'm like, oh, I did something.
Yeah, I tried once and then that taught me never again. So I was like, all right, I'm not gonna do this ever again.
What figure was it?
I wanted to make a Clea and I wanted to use the black cat head sculpt that had come out, the one with like her mask and she had like the really nice white hair. Cause I was like, ooh, without her mask, she would be a really pretty, Clea head. And like trying to get that mask off was impossible. Like I had like the strongest like nail polish remover and everything, and that was just not coming off. And then like how I had to like then there was like a different head sculpt I think I was gonna use, but having to like saw through like the plastic to get the hair off. There was ways to do it, I guess. I just did not have the patience to do it. So I was like, never mind. I will pay other people to do it for me and they'll be happy.
Out of curiosity, which Black Cat figure was it? Do you remember? Was it
It was
was it
like
the
it's like
one?
her latest it's like one of her latest ones.
Oh no. No,
Yeah.
I only say oh no because that one's like slowly going up there.
Oh, is it like rare now? I don't know. At the time,
I
she
know.
had just come out, so she was easy to get. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, that must be a pain because I know there's like different shades of makeup on her. So like trying to remove that and then match the skin tone and match that. Yeah. Yeah. He said Charlie Cox, yeah, and Rosario Dawson will be there. Cool. Tony says adding silver touches on the unpainted metal parts of Marvel Legends is the farthest I'll go in terms of customizing.
well,
Yeah.
hey, even that is more than what I'll do. So that's awesome. It's what like Shelf Avengers like painted a logo on my that Walmart Doctor Strange that came out, whose
Yeah.
head I replaced
Your
because I wanted to
definitive
give
one, right?
to.
You,
You know,
you definitive.
But his like little sigil on his tunic is like the same color I think as like his tunic or whatever, and it should be like a lighter blue, and they didn't even do that. So Shelf Avengers painted it for me so it would look better. So
Shout
so I
out to
appreciate.
and
Yeah, she's
happy
touched
happy
up a
birthday.
few customs for me. So
Yeah. Happy belated birthday there too.
yes, it was her birthday
Yeah.
yesterday. Yes.
Yeah. I'm curious of other stuff you got rid of because I'm kind of like I'm shocked that the Hot Toys Mysterio is gone.
I know, and I kind of regret it, but oh well.
Yeah.
He's gone
So
now.
boys is gone. How about the Witcher stuff?
So I still so I have a few Witcher things. I might not get rid of them, but my one of my best friend's brother is like super into The Witcher, and I think he would like the figures more than I do in my collection. So I'm thinking about gifting them to him so he can have them. But if for some reason he's not into like figures and maybe he's only into like the games or the books, I think they would be cool when I eventually get a house to like display them next to like my Witcher books. So I could
Yeah.
still justify those in my collection because I'm like, I'll display them with the series. And I think I only have right now the Geralt figure from the game, and then I want to call her Cersei. She's not Cersei. Mhm. His like daughter like figure that starts with Siri. I don't know her.
It's Siri, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't actually gotten to the main
From
Witcher
Interest.
series. I read the two prequel books, so she hasn't really appeared yet for me.
So, like, do you have figures set aside that you're like, yo, when I get a house, I'm just gonna have this displayed, and you
Yeah, so
eventually
like,
pair with it because that's been happening. That's happened to me before.
sorry, I missed that last part.
Mhm. Oh no, I'm like, are there like figures where like, yeah, you set aside for like eventually when you have a like when you get a house and like put it on display, like you save it for that. But like, do you end up parting with it? Like,
Yeah,
have you?
so yeah, so like cuz I got into collecting Barbies and I still love Barbies, but I did get rid of some of my Barbies, but I kept some really nice ones that I knew would be hard to obtain again. So those are all in storage right now because I'm kind of not in my like Barbie phase, but I know I want those. So those are like locked up somewhere
Sorry,
behind me.
sorry to interrupt. Which, by the way, we did a Barbie stream last year. Feel free to
We
check that.
did. That was a fun
Shameless
one. It was guessing like how much these Barbies would cost or something. It
the
was fun.
fun ones. So the Marvel theme ones we have weren't fun. All right,
Those were fun too.
cool.
That was fun too. So
Go
yeah,
ahead.
so I still want those guys. I just don't have space right now to really display them. So, but I know when I get a bigger space, I would want to display them. So they're just locked up right now. Um, so I still have some of my Barbies. I'm trying to look on my Macari to see what all I've recently sold. I am selling a few of my customs because there are some customs I can part with that have literally just been sitting in a drawer for like 2 years now. And I'm like, at that point, why do I have you if I'm not even looking at you for 2 years?
Yeah,
So
that's kind of what my brother was like telling me because when I told him I was like, yeah, I was moving and finding a bunch of stuff I bought. He's like, did you ever find something that you moved in with and just it sat there for like the last couple of years? I'm like, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. I just sold it. I was like, I don't know why I bought this. Yeah,
yeah, and see, and I think that's the tricky part when it comes to collectors because I think we walk a very fine line into hoarding. I do think there's
it's a good
differences.
bet.
I do think there's differences between collecting and hoarding. You know, collecting you do have a
That's
purpose
the
for Yeah. So collecting, you do have a purpose for why you're collecting this item. You're not just buying it to buy it, like hoarding tends to be. There also tends to be a little bit more organization in collecting than there is in hoarding. Hopefully you should have some type of system to your collecting. But I think like both are all about that instant gratification of getting something new. And to
Yes.
me, I find myself getting a little concerned when I buy something and then I just put it away and I don't look at it for like the next 3 years. And it's like, then why do I have it? So like to me, part of my purging process is like, have I looked at this in a year? Have I thought about this in a year? Will I think about this in a year? Would I care in a year if I don't have this? And if the answer is no, then why am I keeping it, you know?
So those are your guidelines for wanting to sell stuff. That's like,
Yeah, it's one of my guidelines, yeah.
yeah,
And I always find, like, and I think, it could be a fun live stream to do in the future, which is talking about how you can get rid of things and stuff. But to me, I always find that like once you start parting with things, it's not so hard to keep doing it.
I don't want to
Um,
get rid of things.
yeah, but yeah, and see that to me was part of the
That's
hardest
funny.
part of downsizing was like I project emotions onto my toys. Toy Story ruined me as a child. I like to imagine they're real people with their real lives when I'm not home. And so to me, whenever I got rid of something, it felt like a betrayal. And I have to tell myself, Angie, they're not real. They are plastic toys. They're not going to get mad at you
You
if you
think it's
get rid of them.
like that scene at the was it Toy Story 3 where like he's driving off and they're in a box?
Yeah, they're all like sad and stuff. I'm like, they're not gonna like. I do that especially with like stuffed animals. Stuffed animals, I have like the hardest time parting with because I feel like I'm like betraying them, and I have to tell myself they're not they're inanimate figures that aren't going to be upset if you get rid of them. So I do think the struggle with maintaining a collection is not being like imprisoned to like your stuff. Don't let your stuff have the authority in the relationship. You know, you own
Like,
them, they don't
clearly.
own you.
Clearly.
So don't keep something because you feel bad if you're going to get rid of it. Then that's like an unhealthy relationship with a toy. Just get rid of it.
Yeah, but then you get the mental gymnastics. You don't know like I do. They've been there.
Oh yeah, yeah, there's like, you'll never have what I had with them.
You don't understand. I was at a Walmart. I saw this. I was really sad that day, and I bought it in there.
Yeah.
What's up, Red Hexomac 5? He says guys that keep boxes of open figures are hoarders.
Kind
I
of,
mean,
yeah.
yes
I
and
mean,
no. Depends. Yeah.
it depends. Yeah, I think it depends on how you're using it. Like some people I see like can like integrate it into their display. Like they'll have like the figure in front of the box. And I think that's kind of fun because at least for me, because I used to be a box collector. I used to love keeping things in box. And the reason I did that was one, I had a paranoia that it was going to get damaged or destroyed. And it can't get damaged if you never take it out. But two, it's also because since I like art, I think the box design and stuff can sometimes be a part of like the merchandising and like the presentation of it. So like sometimes people can actually like integrate, the box display into their collection. Or sometimes I think people hold on to it in case they're gonna move or something and you can put it back so it's easy to like store it and like ship it or something.
Yeah. Like I'm
But
sure.
yeah, if you're just keeping the box because you don't want to throw the box away for some reason, then maybe it's like the why.
That I mean, like, yeah, like Mezcos or like Hot Toys, right? I understand why you keep the box because like it's a premium, and at some point, if you do want to part with it, you still have everything with it. Um,
Yeah, it's like sometimes it can help keep like accessories and stuff all together.
so the justification of people just keeping empty retail boxes just in the corner. Hear me out. They appreciate art, and the
Yeah.
box has whatever you got to tell yourself, right?
No, there was one time a painting my
No.
mother saw at a museum of a blank white canvas, and at the very corner of the canvas was a black line, and it was called St. Louis 2, and there was a
Oh,
whole group of people standing around that painting, staring at it in admiration. And if that can be art, your corner of your room with a stack of throwaway boxes can also be art.
I'm not saying that's me now, but I know
Yeah.
that was me like when I was a kid. I used to do that stuff. But yeah, I remember that because I remember taking photography at college, and like someone had a really simple photo. No disrespect, but I remember people like it says so much with not so many details. So bad.
I know everyone perceives art differently. I can't argue if someone is evoked emotion from that. There's just some art I don't get, but that's
No.
okay. That's not for me then.
No, but I know like what he's referring to because I've seen like in the Facebook groups and stuff like that, like no judgment or anything like that, but like, damn, dude, just empty boxes just crushed up in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See that to me, that's like that would be a little borderline of like that very thin line between the hoarding and the collecting.
But then how do you like differentiate like if I have like a what
Yes, we'll see. But like, have you watched like what was it, TLC's like hoarders or whatever? Like when their whole house is like taken over by their
yeah.
stuff and they like physically almost can't live in it. Like,
Yeah, like someone had ventriloquist dolls and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
When it's
crazy.
when your collecting gets to that point when there is just so much physical stuff just thrown around and you can't escape it, then it's not collecting anymore. Then I think it's a little bit of a hoarding. But like you you've got plenty of space you can move around in there. You have like you're organized. There's a
Everything
method
on
for your
that side is
display,
all everything on
you
that
know?
side is all crushed boxes. No, I'm kidding.
But like you can live, you can function in your daily life. To me, that's not hoarding. You just you're a little bit more of a maximalist right now, but you've got like a system to how you have them displayed. And you said you've been getting rid of some figures.
Yeah,
Hoarders can't get rid of things. So
that's true. But sometimes I feel like it's like that. Sometimes when like when you try to sell something, you're just like,
yeah,
no, I could use this, or what if I want to have an idea one day for yeah.
exactly.
The
To me, that's when I have to be really strict with myself because I don't know. My mother, I think collecting can also be in the genes because like my mom loves collecting baskets. That's her thing.
oh,
She
that's
loves she loves a good wicker basket. But but like she would but she like I grew up with like a person who loved one thing and wanted like so much of it. So to me, I think it was acceptable in my environment to like have the collecting tendency. So I think if you're like in a family of collectors, it can be really easy to become a collector. But I have to tell myself whenever I'm going through my collection, I have to make sure I'm not accidentally crossing that like hoarding boundary. And I'm like, I gotta be sure I'm keeping this because I want it, not because I'm like projecting my emotions onto it, not because I'm going to feel bad if I get rid of it, not because I think in 10 or 15 years I'm going to want this still. I don't know where I'm going to be in 10 and 15 years, you know? I think what I always tell people, if you're indecisive about selling something, if it's really easy to re-get, just sell it.
don't
Because if
sell
it's
it.
easy, if it's
Don't
easy to replace, you can
don't do it,
replace it if
guys.
you end up missing it. But what if you don't end up missing it? Then why did you
Don't
have that in your
don't listen.
space?
To it. Keep
Don't get rid of it. Get rid of it. Let go.
it.
It's healing.
What's up, Mario says, "Hey, Pack. Hi, Angelina. What's up, Art?"
Well,
Yeah, don't get rid of it. I mean, you never know one day that Marvel Legends Darwin or whatever who is going to be worth something someday.
and tomorrow you might blow up, and then your poor family member is going to have to sell it for you so you can just save them the time and effort and get rid of it now. Just never
Wow.
know.
It's funny you mentioned like because your mom collecting stuff. I don't know if that's like a trait. I'm curious to ask other collectors like if it's something that you've seen your parents do. Because my dad used to have Elvis Presley and Beatles plates. I just remembered
Okay,
that.
yeah. And
And like my
that's
mom,
like
yeah,
if you had more than 3, I would say that's a collecting pattern. I'm not saying all collectors have collection in their family because I know like some people love collecting because like they weren't allowed to as a child or something. But I think for
yeah.
me, my interest in collecting definitely came from the fact that like my mother also collected things and I thought it was fun.
Mhm. Yeah, my mom also liked to collect stuff. She liked to collect. See, hers kind of like evolved. She collected pins, and then she
Okay.
collected Hard Rock Cafe pins, and then she collected Hard Rock Cafe shot glasses. Sorry, mom, I'm putting you on the spot. And then it like evolved from there to like
Yeah.
Hard Rock Cafe T-shirts. So it's like, yeah,
Oh, that's fun. Yeah,
yeah,
and you know what? And I think that's like part of the fun of collecting is seeing how your collection evolves over time. Like,
yeah,
I'm definitely not collecting what I collected 5 years ago, and I think that's the fun of it.
yeah. Well, I mean, you could, but you can keep what you want. You
And see, that's the fun. Your
know.
collection has probably grown in the last 5 years, and that's also being able to see your collection like progress and develop.
Yeah. I What's up, Hellspawn Hulk? He's like, I collect for the art. True. I mean, art's always subjective, right? So people can see these as a work of art, and especially goes for that freaking sideshow statue. Yeah.
And also for you, because like your one of your hobbies is one, making YouTube videos to open figures and show them off, and two, you like you said you love doing stop motion videos. So, like when your actual other hobbies tie into collecting, that also kind of
It's kind of
validates,
incentive. Yeah.
for having a lot of figures because it ties into like your other hobbies.
Yeah. So thanks for the reasoning why I should just keep doing this.
Like I said at the very beginning, if it's not hurting you financially, if you have the space to do it and it makes you happy, how you're collecting is a perfect way to collect.
That's true. We should just put that disclaimer in the beginning. John to the Ross says, "My mom collected ceramic figurines and wedding giveaways." What is that like? Did they have
Oh,
like party
like
favors?
probably like, sometimes when you go to a wedding, they give like little wedding favors. Sometimes it's like little bouquet of flowers or like little,
Oh yeah,
you know,
my, my cousin had a really good one.
wine glasses.
It was like in '09. Shout outs to you, and he gave out flash drives, and the flash
Oh,
drive had a wedding photo of them, and I was like, "Oh, cool!" But I can also use this like
see,
practical.
there you go. Now you got a free flash drive.
Yeah. Jonathan Ross says, "Oh yeah, mom's also collected mini Tabasco bottles." Right on. Was she a maximalist or was she like did she have everything Tabasco related? Let me know, John. What's up, Omar? He says, "Sup, peeps." New York Backyard says, "I collect because it brings me back to when I was young and it helps when I'm stressed out." Yeah, it's definitely a getaway. You know what I mean? A place to escape. So
Kind of
I
that
totally,
nostalgia, return to childhood, better times, objectified.
yeah, and I think that's a lot of what like the toy industry is now, is like tapping into that nostalgia stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of that nostalgia. Where is it? I had it right here. I did a live stream the other day. I was like, I'm going to open this, and I'm like, no, it's actually going for lots, and let me not do it anymore.
That's
Yeah.
cool about that. You see that something like that I think is awesome in display, like in package, because like the art is like overtaking the whole package.
As
That's when you
opposed
need
to
to put it on like the wall.
something like
Yeah, as
this.
opposed to that, which is like, why would you keep that in box? Why?
Whoa,
That's
no. Shout outs to the Hammings. um, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think anything else like you further want to expand on in terms of, like the minimalist versus maximalist discussion, or
not
something you want to add. Hmm?
not really.
Oh
Just do
yeah,
what makes just do what makes you happy. I mean, mine works. I mean, I definitely didn't start out as a minimalist. I kind of found my way there. And it took like because I've been collecting for about 5 years now or so. It took me some time to kind of finally start settling on where I think my collecting works. So I always tell people who are either like getting new into collecting or are still in collecting and they feel they haven't found their footing that it's like completely fine and that if what you're doing now works for you, that's great. It might change in 2 years, it might not.
I don't share the same sentiments. If you like it, even if you don't like it, just buy it. That's why Capital One credit cards are there to buy whatever you want. Just
America,
deal with the consequences later.
it's a capitalist society. Just
I'm
indulge.
kidding, guys. I'm kidding. No, buy what you like. Yeah, I agree. I do blame you because, like, I remember like we were going through, it was a year or so ago, the Spider-Man stuff we were talking about, and you're like, you don't need 15 Spider-Mans. And I'm like, I don't. That somehow ended up again with other variations just because it's like, I don't
Yeah, and see that's I think is like the beauty of having different collecting styles. Like I can't understand why someone would want 15 Spider-Mans, but like it's
like what?
fun to see other people have all their Spider-Mans lined up and it's cool to see like the joy they get from it. Will I ever do that? No, but it's cool because like if everyone collected like me, it would be a pretty boring place.
You can't tell me why people wouldn't want 18 different versions of Batman. Like, come on,
I mean, I have, probably
man.
about 18 Scarlet Witches. So can I talk? No.
um, John of the Ross, yeah. So I thought this was going to be a toy collecting intervention, but just justifying my addiction. Right on, man. That's what it's about. I'm kidding.
You can go to my Instagram channel and check out my video on purging. that can help if you need some intervention. There you go.
I always get scared when you post a purging thing. I was like, oh no, who's not making the cut next?
I still have. He almost went away, but I was like, no, I got to keep him for the joke. I do still have my Spider-Man 2099, right? Figure.
Mhm.
Cuz like every time I throw away a figure, I like to think he's coming to like prune them out of the multiverse. He's just like, get out of here.
Talking about this one, right?
Yeah, that one. Yeah. So I still have him. He's the only Spider-Man I'll allow in my collection.
That's right, because you let us know how you feel about Spider-Man, just real quick.
Like I'm pretty sure in like some universe I'm like a Jonah variant. I'm just like, man, that Spider-Man menace should just get off our TVs.
Why I oughta. Yeah, I've had some purging moments. I don't post it because it's like I don't want to like advertise, but yeah, I've had some purging moments too. I'll probably have
Yeah,
some more now ever since the move.
yeah, and life changes always kind of ignite that because you're in a new space or you're in a new stage in life, and you're always reevaluating. For me, I don't know. To me, I like getting rid of things because it allows space for new stuff to come in. To me, that's just part of my healthy ecosystem is getting rid of something and bringing something in. I like
For
the
food,
change.
hot
Yeah,
toys,
if I
hot
always
toys.
had something the same way, I would get very bored. So to me,
Want
I
to
always validate changing it up.
if you want to give away hot toys for free, I'm right here. Just let me
Oh,
know.
gotcha. I don't know, 'cause the only one I have, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
I'm sticking with her, but
What's up, Chris? Said, yo, Atomic Figs here. I call it Thanos
Thanos
snapping. Yeah,
snapping. Yep.
occasionally, Aungie will have a Thanos snap every quarter, so just watch out, y'all.
Yeah, it's healthy. It's keeping balance. Just there you go.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, thanks for everyone that came through tonight, and thanks Anjali for coming on the channel again and joining me, and hopefully next time we have a discussion like this, it's more so, hey, talking about how I became a minimalist. So I don't
Uh,
know.
well, there you go. And see, and it's completely valid if you become a minimalist and you find yourself going back into maximalism. It's all part of the game.
The irony of like a couple months from now, it's just there's more displays and more
Just yeah,
figures.
it's just slowly like it's just slowly you just see less white of the wall.
Yeah, it just slowly starts building. Yeah, just a bunch of retro card crap on the wall.
The next time you'll
And
see us, I won't even have a fridge because I'll have decided I don't need it.
you're just like, I'm a real minimalist. I just have the white walls, a door, and
Yeah, I
oh
got a
wait,
mini fridge now.
real quick. John Ross says, "What's y'all source of purging? eBay. I want to sell / purge, but do fear scammers."
Yeah, I
Uh,
use Macari. Macari's the one I use the most. To me, it's the easiest. The only thing I would say, eBay, I do use sometimes. I've had good experiences with eBay, but I only use eBay for like really expensive figures I want to get rid of that I know are probably going to sit on the market for a little while. Because if you're going to sell on Macari, everyone's expectation with Macari is that you're selling them for pretty cheap. So if you want to just get rid of something and get some money back from it, sell on Macari. If you kind of want to get your money's worth, do eBay.
yeah, I'm same thing. I think Mercari's more so like if you're looking to sell, but at a lesser cost, potentially, because that's why I usually go for like deals. But like eBay is probably where you can get your most. uh, because I purged my DC show. Wow, really? Um, anything else that you want to kind of sign off on? Because I saw this and I was like, how to top that? And where it says, "Oh, notice I have minimal dollars in my bank account." Amen,
There
brother.
you go. There you go. So do I, but I still have the maximalist spending habit.
Yeah,
It's the hard part. But no, I think
yeah,
it's a good send off to me.
yeah. Stay tuned too for the future because we have something else potentially planned for other live streams. Uh, we just got to catch them all. So catch those.
I was
That's
like, is it that one?
yeah. But thank you all for joining us. And for anyone catching the replay, thanks for joining us. And let us know in the comments if you're a minimalist or a maximalist. And let us know what you collect. I'm still kidding. That's pretty good. Thank you all for joining us. So have a good evening. Till next time. Peace. God damn it, the balloons.